Hello and welcome. Today I want to talk about how to read from a script while still sounding like a human. So a little bit about advantages and disadvantages of scripting, and then the crux of this video is the difference between writing and speaking and why it matters. And then I'm going to take a script and adapt it so it is more video friendly. Okay, so if you've watched my other videos, you know I'm a huge fan of having a plan, no matter what that looks like for you. I'm an outliner. I'm not a scripter. So I make a shot list, an outline of the video on my iPad using Notability, and then I move to my computer and I use Keynote to make a more detailed outline. But a lot of my faculty really prefer using scripts, and I get it because it really does reduce anxiety. It also kind of front loads the work so that by the time you get to the actual recording, you're much more calm and relaxed, which is really important. And you can really work that script until it is exactly the way you want it. However, reading from a script usually sounds a lot less natural. It is very difficult to humanize, and something usually feels or sounds off, almost robotic, and it's very, very hard for most people to figure out why it's so different. There's good news, though. If you understand how spoken language differs from written language, that's going to help you when you write your script. So let's take a look at that. We're going to compare typical features of speech versus writing. Speech is much less explicit. There are less clear sentence boundaries, and that gives it a more simple and loose and relaxed structure. And also, speech tends to have more repetitive and more restrictive vocabulary compared to writing. In addition, we have normal disfluency in speech. That means that we make errors in speech, and it's considered normal. But in writing, because we have editing and the power of sort of infinite time, normally we have fluency in writing. Going along with that, in speech, we monitor ourselves. So we listen to ourselves and we adjust what we say as we are speaking. Obviously, that doesn't happen in writing. This makes speech seem more informal. And the last thing here, in speech, we rely on the interaction and feedback of the people we are speaking to. And that's why, especially in the beginning, when you're making videos, it seems really awkward because you are doing the speaking thing, but you're not getting any feedback. So that's just something to keep in mind. So let's look at an example and see how this plays out. So I copied this text from a YouTube video, and I am not giving credit basically to protect the professor. This is not evil. But I think you can see as we go through it, it's really not a great script for a video. This is in my area of expertise, so this is an introduction to the somatic and autonomic nervous system. And let's look at this. The first couple sentences here, the nervous system can be divided into two functional parts, the somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. The major differences between the two systems are evident in the responses that each produces. So I think you can agree that this is really formal and really explicit. It's very fluent and it's highly polished. I would say that this reads more like a textbook than a video script. So it has no humanized element to it. It really does feel like a robot. Okay, next. The somatic nervous system causes contraction of skeletal muscles. The autonomic nervous system controls cardiac and smooth muscle as well as glandular tissue. Now, I'm going to say that section is a little bit better. It's not as robotic, but it's really tight in terms of vocabulary and cadence, like the rhythm that you would read this. I would also suggest that this is a great example to introduce more of a first-person experience-based approach, like try this on yourself, because that will really help to increase student engagement. The somatic nervous system is associated with voluntary responses, though many can happen without conscious awareness, like breathing, and the autonomic nervous system is associated with involuntary responses, such as those related to homeostasis. So again, I'm going to say this is really tight. It's a complex structure, complex vocabulary, overly complex. And as you read all of this, I think for me, I would say it doesn't breathe. I felt like it was a rapid fire information delivery. It was just so difficult to watch and listen to. I was exhausted. And the presenter looked pretty exhausted also. So let's slow down and sort of clarify and breathe a little bit. So this is what I would recommend. I would start with an outline. Whether you want to end up with a full script or not, doesn't matter. Start with an outline. And step 2 is to read the outline and record it. So think about how you would present this to a class. If you're an experienced educator, this part is easy. If you're new, it's going to take some time. What language would you use and how would you engage with them? Like, when would you stop and ask questions? And I would suggest that you do that, even though it is a video. Next, if you want a script, I would write the script based on the recording that you made. And there are a lot of apps that can help you to do this. I use Descript. I am a huge Descript fan. Descript is an amazing video editor and transcribing tool. This is how I make all of my own closed captions and transcript files very, very easily. There is a link in the description. I'm an affiliate with Descript and I just love them, but this video is not sponsored. But in any case, however you do it, use the recording to build the script. And step 4 is to record your video. Remember to smile, gesture naturally, relax, and breathe. And when I did that, based on the content I showed you earlier, this is what I got. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the differences between the somatic and the autonomic nervous systems. The somatic system refers to skeletal muscle, and this is under voluntary control. So if I tell you to contract your biceps brachii, you can do that. That's the somatic division. I really just wanted you to hear the difference in the feel, right? The content is the same in both cases, but here it really feels like I'm speaking to you as I would speak if we were face to face. And that's really what you're going for in a video, right? It's supposed to be more human and more engaging than a textbook. As always, I hope that was helpful. For more videos like this, check out my EdTech playlist, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.